What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Blazers Uprise post-game show. Thank you so much for your patience. Tori is out of town right now. He tried to set up the stream where he's at, and unfortunately the internet didn't seem to be working well enough for him to be able to run the stream. So he just made an executive decision to bow out, and so I'm gonna do the show solo. Thank you everyone for joining me. Hopefully, unlike last time, hopefully you guys can all hear me. Is it quiet again? Let me just check and see what I did last time. See if I can fix it. Give me just a second to try and figure this out. Don't have someone to talk while I'm trying to do it. It looks like it's turned up all the way. Oh. Microphone. Nope. There we go. All right. Is that better? Can you guys hear me much better now? I think I figured it out. All right. All right. So, I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat this. This game was terrible. It really sucked. The Blazers, going into this game, have been blown out 3 out of the last 4 games. They're playing the Mavericks tonight, who are missing 3 of their starters, including their best player, Luka Doncic. And they absolutely no-show in this game. And it's really pathetic, man. I'm getting sick of this. At least earlier in the season, you could make the case that they were at least playing hard. If they were outmatched or didn't have the talent to win, that's fine. But they've given up too. There's several culprits, and I can maybe try to show the pictures I had done 2 Brandt's breakdowns for you guys, because I wanted to call out some people in particular for their lack of effort and show you guys just why this team sucks right now. Because, yeah, I mean, it's not just one person. It's a lot of people. And one of the biggest culprits is Jeremy Grant. I've never seen a player give such lazy effort on rebounding, and it's quite frankly pissing me off. He had a play where I wanted to show you guys where he just turned around and watched the ball as Seth Curry, freaking 6'1" guard, runs right around him, doesn't even bother to put a body on him, just stands there as Curry runs right around him and grabs an offensive rebound, while Reith is trying as hard as he can to hold off Dwight Powell. And Seth Curry gets a freaking offensive rebound. And you could say it's one play, but it's almost, watch Jeremy every time a shot goes up. At 90% of the time, he just stands there and watches it. Man, it's really sad. And I don't know how they can watch film and be content with that level of effort by one of your veterans that's supposed to be the example for other players. I don't care how many points players score. If you give that poor of effort on rebounds and on defense, I don't think you can win with those guys. So, to quote the great Singletary. Anyways, yeah, I'm sick of it. And then there was a play in the second half where a shot went up by the Blazers from the corner. Dallas gets the rebound. Scoot is literally 20 feet closer to our end of the court to play defense than any other person, and just stands there and gets beat by Greg Brown down the court by about 10 feet for a lay-in or a dunk or whatever. And just, that was the theme of the game, man. This whole game. Blazers just didn't bother getting back on defense. Even after a made basket, they scored on in transition on us. And Chauncey even said it in the press conference. We knew that without Doncic, that the Mavericks were going to play very at a much higher pace than they normally would, because Doncic kind of is methodical and slows the ball down. So Chauncey said they knew going in and talked about the game plan for the Mavericks and how to stop them is having to get back and play transition defense. And Blazers just didn't even bother getting back. I mean, it's really sad. And I think whether you believe in Chauncey still or not, these are all reflections of a team that is not listening to their coaching staff. So, sorry, I was making the camera shake there. It's a reflection of the coaching staff, man. And you can say it's not Chauncey's fault all you want, chat. But he did not have his team prepared to play. He is not holding them accountable. He has been saying for years now that he's going to hold people accountable. His whole shtick was put an address on it, do all that, like, I'm gonna call out players, and it doesn't matter who you are. You're gonna be held accountable. He doesn't hold crap accountable, man. And this whole coaching staff, it just they don't do anything. And tonight, I mean, I guess he did do something. He benched the starters, or most of them, for the rest of the game after that run at the beginning of the third quarter. So at least he did do that. But I mean, we're down 30 already. So like, I mean, where was that accountability in the first half when they, I don't know. It's just, and what are we doing at halftime? What are we doing? Like, we didn't make any adjustments. We didn't do anything. We just come out flat, running the same basic offense that doesn't generate any good looks. It doesn't really maximize the personnel strengths. And so, yeah, you can say it's not coaching all you want, but I mean, good coach teams do not look like this. They just don't. And whether it's fair to Chauncey or not, at some point you have to question why the team just is not seemingly focused and doing what he wants on the court. It's 3 seasons now of him preaching and saying all the right things in press conferences and saying what the team needs to be better at, but for some reason he can't get his teams to do that. And it's a difficult thing to do, and this happens a lot with players who are good players and smart players on the court. It's sometimes hard for those people to teach someone their mindset or how to be smart on a court. So I don't necessarily, like, I'm not saying Chauncey's like coaching wrong or anything. It's just, it's very hard sometimes to know how to teach someone who isn't you how to play like you or how to play the way you want them to play. I do question what this coaching staff is doing. And I mean, you can say it's a lack of talent or whatever, but what's the excuse tonight? I mean, what is the excuse? They had Kyrie, but other than Kyrie, is there anyone on that roster that's like more talented than us that should have meant we lost by 36 points tonight? Like, like this isn't a game where we played a team that was like the 1 seed and we're the 15 seed, and yeah, of course we're gonna get blown out because they have Jokic and they won the championship last year or something. Like, I mean, this is the Mavericks team that was missing a bunch of their good players. So you don't have that excuse. And then last week, you know, we played San Antonio, who was a worse record than us, and we get blown out by San Antonio. Phoenix we played on Monday. Phoenix hasn't been playing well at all. In fact, I think they were under 500 when we played them, and all of a sudden they're kicking our butts, and we look like a really crappy team. So I don't think they even had KD in that game. It's just I don't get it. Like why? Like before I went live, there was people in chat saying you better not blame Chauncey. This isn't coaching fault or whatever. Yeah, I mean it's not 100% on coaching. A lot of it is on the way this roster was put together. Certainly injuries and just like chemistry and things like that are issues. So yeah, we can blame the front office. I mean, I was going to sit here every stream and blame the front office for the way the summer went down, even though I probably could. But it just, to me, man, I don't get it. And then Chauncey he says he doesn't even know what's wrong with the team or like what's going on. He said there was a lack of effort tonight, but he said the game on Wednesday that they didn't have a lack of effort. And I was like, did you watch the same game as me? I don't know, man. And I don't believe this team is this bad. I just do not believe that. And they are playing Malcolm Brogdon and Jeremy Grant and Thibault. They're playing those players because they think they can still win games and stuff like that. And going into the season, they actually thought they would be possibly a play-in team despite them tempering the expectations for everyone so that just in case it happened like this, they could then say, oh, well, we told you guys we weren't going to be good. Yeah. And this is the same reason for years. I felt like Dame was propping up Stotts. And then, Stotts gets let go and Chauncey's first year, Dame gets hurt. And all of a sudden we have like a terrible season and we're one of the worst teams in the league. And I don't think that's a coincidence. And I do believe Dame had masked a lot of the issues coaching and front office wise from this team. I still think we owed Dame for what he did for this franchise. I still think we owed it to him at least once in his 11 seasons here to give him a chance or a fighting chance or just some sort of better team to see if he didn't have to expend so much effort carrying the whole franchise if he could possibly do something here in Portland. So I'm still disappointed about that. But, yeah, I mean, Chauncey was a high-risk, high-reward type hire. If he works out, I do think some of his philosophies and the way he was talking and the way he wants to coach was the right things that the team needed. Unfortunately, he just doesn't know how to coach those things. So, and that's kind of important when you are the coach, that you're able to coach your team and not just continually say, well, we need to do this, and then not ever have the team do that. So, yeah, I just get frustrated and it's, once again, it's not any sort of, well, you had too high of expectations, Eric. Like, you should have known this team was going to suck this year. Yeah, fine. Like, they probably should be bad or whatever. But I just don't like the way they're playing, and I don't think it's conducive to maximizing the growth of this team moving forward. And that was always the most important part of the season to me. And now Scoot's been playing a lot and starting and doing all that stuff. But it seems to be now at the expense of Shaedon Sharpe. And he's coming off the bench. I felt like before Shaden got hurt, he had earned the right to start. Um, and yeah, it's really starting to frustrate me because now I feel like we're also messing with the development on top of not giving effort and being poorly coached and all that kind of stuff. And if we were getting good development and stuff, like I'd probably be fine. But this team seems to be regressing a little bit. Tori's in chat, but he had some internet issues. Sorry he couldn't be on the show tonight, but I want to thank everyone for joining. Tori, I did ask you a question on Discord if you're listening. Just want to make sure I do something right if you want me to do that. And then, so I don't know, like, I'm assuming most of you who watch the show regularly are more on, Tori and my side of this thing. And I do know there are a few of you that aren't, and that's fine. You can have your own opinions. But yeah, if you feel differently than me, I'd love to hear some reasoning why you think Billups shouldn't be getting a huge amount of criticism right now. And I know we're not going to get rid of him until after the season, at the very earliest, if that. So, I'm not like saying they should fire him right now because I know they're not going to. And yeah, I was really hoping that Chauncey would be, like, he couldn't find his groove, obviously, as an X's and O's coach when the team was supposed to be better the last couple of years. But I was really hoping this year he'd find his niche as a coach, just grooming these young guys, especially like Scoot and Sharp and stuff, and just really showing some progress with them. And this isn't even like a knock on the progress necessarily. I don't know. I mean, Sharp's been cool about things. He's such a laid back guy. I mean, I don't know if he really cares or not. But it's got to be messing with him to once again have players like Kamara starting over him. I don't know, man. So RWNW3 says, overall, are we happy with the progress of the young talent? I would say yes. I don't know. There was that period last year where it started in the Sacramento game after the snowstorm, right? Where the Blazers end up just resting Dame and Grant for no reason. And this freaking guy, Chauncey Billups, starts Ryan Arcidiacono over Shaden Sharp after Sharp had been playing well and had seemingly earned the starting spot, certainly over Arcidiacono, man. And that stuff starts to mess with a young guy's psyche, man. Like if you're working your butt off and stuff, and like let's just say right now, okay, let's just say Chauncey's saying, hey, I know this isn't great, but Kamara just, I think, fits better with the starting lineup, and I want you, Sharp, to come off the bench and be the main guy off the bench. I think it's a little more suited for your game rather than, being just the third or fourth option with the starters. You can come in, be the first option off the bench, and get a lot more on ball reps that way, and will develop you that way. And then Kamara is working his butt up on defense, and we really need a defender at the forward position in that starting lineup. So it's nothing against you or how you've been playing, but in my mind, it doesn't really matter who starts. It's who gets the bulk of the minutes and how those minutes are used to develop him. So if he went to Sharp and did that, that's totally fine. And if Sharp has a good attitude about that and says, that's cool, I don't mind, I'll do whatever it takes for the team or whatever, then that's good too, right? But if you do that, okay, and then the person who you said you just wanted starting because, of those reasons, but then when that person is out of the lineup and you start some like scrub player over him, or you start someone else over him, then you start to wonder, like, wait, so is it not just because you wanted that person in the starting lineup, or have I not been earning these minutes or whatever? Like, we suck right now? Like, am I not worthy? Like, just because I got hurt, I lose all the progress I made towards building this, continuity with the starting lineup? So that absolutely can mess with a young player. And, it's not like, I don't want to make excuses for, young players playing bad or like moping or whatever, which I'm not saying anyone is. But I'm saying, like, you have to be, I don't know. Obviously, Sharp is a huge part. Like, he could be our best player in the future, right? Like, that's how good he is. Like, this guy his ceiling could be higher than anyone else's on this team, including Scoot, including Anthony, all that stuff. And I just want him to get those reps and those things, let him work it out on the court with the starting lineup. They're going to have to learn eventually if Scoot, Sharp, and Ant can play together. And they're freaking what, like 9-25 or whatever their record is right now? Why not use right now? Why not use the rest of this season to get as many opportunities to see that trio play together as possible, and then you can make decisions based on that in future off seasons. Maybe you even take next year to get even more information. It's frustrating to me that it seems like Chauncey's kind of messing with that whole dynamic, and it's always one of them. Like, for a while it was Scoot, and now it's Sharp. And Tori's been talking about this for a while, but well-coached teams do not look worse when it gets to like the halfway point in the year. They're supposed to be hitting their stride about now and playing the way they should be. They should be creating more problems as a team as the year goes on. It should be getting better. All these issues should be getting corrected, and players should be learning, and effort should be increasing as needed when games get tougher and the season goes on. All that, not falling off a cliff. The defense is just freaking atrocious, man, and it's the problem is it's not even like the defense necessarily. It's that they're not even getting back on defense. They're not even getting back. And that's the like, I just don't get that, man. A good coach, even an average coach, would not have defensive issues simply because for basically 5 straight games now, the team has had trouble getting back on defense. Like, that's just like really inexcusable, man. Part of this might be, we're less than 5 weeks now, 34 days away from the trade deadline. Obviously, someone like Malcolm Brogdon is coming up in all kinds of trade rumors today. I don't think they're going to trade Jeremy, but there's rumors about Jeremy today as well, which we can get into later. But I mean it feels like a team that knows they're not going to be together much longer, and so that might not all be on Chauncey. I mean that's more of just an unfortunate side effect of the way this team was set up with having these veterans that I think need to get moved. But I really hope they look at this, the way this is shaping out, and realize that they should probably move Jeremy sooner rather than later. I am hoping that it's by the trade deadline. And once again, in case you're new, I like Jeremy as a player, really great guy. I like Brogdon as a player, really great guy. I just don't think they have a role on the future of this team. And in my opinion, when you're as bad as the Blazers are this year, you take every opportunity you can to stockpile as many assets, as many opportunities to hit on players, whether that be draft picks or young players. You take as many of those chances as you can get, and you worry about getting the role players or the final pieces to the puzzle, which I believe like guys like Jeremy and Brogdon are. Those guys you get once you get to the point where you're ready for those guys to come in and help. So that's how I would run it. I would trade pretty much anyone over like 25, and I wouldn't even hesitate or think twice about it. Churin Kwan says, Eric and Tori, what do you guys think of Ant Simon's play in these two Dallas games? Ant's been terrible. He's been really, really bad. Yeah, I mean, it was 1 for 8 tonight, I think. Just didn't seem to have it at all. He was giving some effort. He was one of the few people who was giving a lot of effort on defense. They alluded to in the broadcast, he was really sick, I guess. He said one of the sickest he's ever been. And he said he's fine and that he wasn't going to use excuses. But both Lamar and Kevin said multiple times that they thought he looked like he wasn't all 100%. Not using that as an excuse, but yeah, Anthony is not good last couple games. But yeah, also missed several games and came back. So, Donnie said probably worried he might lose his starting spot. I don't think Anthony's in any danger of losing his starting spot, so I don't think that would be the reason. Part of the problem too is, he had a couple of nice kickouts to Scoot in this game, and Scoot missed both threes, but I mean there are good plays and good shots by Scoot, it's the spacing's a little weird and it's still a little clunky with Scoot playing off ball, with Anthony being the main usage guy. I don't know. Tyler says I never know with Billups. While that's true, I can't see a scenario where either Anthony or Jeremy gets benched or taken out of the starting lineup. I just think this team and organization believes in those two guys too much to do that. And yeah, I know. I mean, I don't know what exactly Anthony had, but I got really sick around right before Christmas. I actually missed a show. I couldn't even physically watch the game or stream or whatever, and then spent half the day the next day in the hospital. Yeah, so it was pretty bad. It took me. I still haven't gotten completely over the cough and stuff, or just now starting to feel better, and that it's been almost 2 weeks. So yeah, it's Eric Gold said he missed the show. He must have been dying. Yeah. So I told this story on a few postgame shows ago, but I tried to watch the first half. It was the Wizards game, and the I messaged Tori in the first half. I was like, dude, I could not even watch the game. Like, I'm so sick. And actually, after I messaged him, I fell asleep for a little bit. I woke up with like 7.8 seconds left or whatever it was, and they were like finishing the review where Thibault stole the ball, but they called a foul. And so the Blazers were about to get the ball with 7 seconds left, down one. And so, like, I'm a huge Blazer fan. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, like, I'm gonna watch the end of this. I passed out and didn't hear what happened until later. What happened in the game? So, like, I couldn't even stay awake for 7 seconds to find out what happened on that last play. That's how sick I was. So, yeah, I mean, I can't imagine trying to like play a sport or basketball in particular while feeling that way. So, once again, not an excuse for Anthony or anything, because if he's out there playing, he needs to be better. But yeah, he has not been good the last two games. But at the same time, like, I don't think you can read anything into 2 games and say, because I saw this hot take in here, is that we for sure now know based on this game that Anthony is not that guy and can't be a star or whatever. Like, I mean, it's 2 games, dude. He had been playing pretty good before that. I don't know. Sean Dawes, what's up? Says, how does Greg Brown look like a role player against our talented young guys? Scoot, Sharp, etc. I mean, Greg Brown can run the floor and finish. So, yeah. It's really easy when you're a rim runner and our defense doesn't get back to protect the rim. So you can get a lot of easy baskets that way. But he's always been an energy guy, and so when you're playing a team that's not given a ton of energy, it shows up. Is Ant really a star in my eyes? 100%. Yes, I completely believe in Ant. I do think he needs a little bit different team around him, and I still think it's like I mentioned a little bit, it's a weird fit with him and Scoot. But I'm not willing to like say that they can't figure it out eventually. So, yeah. Garben asked, do we know how badly injured Jabari is? Well, he was like questionable, I think, going into this game, or doubtful. I don't think he'd have that designation if it was bad. So, yeah. Alex R says more like Ant needs to go to a different organization. He's surrounded by clowns. That's funny. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know how you can watch Anthony and say that you think it's like his fault that this team sucks or whatever. Like, I don't agree with that, man. I think he's doing everything he can to prop. And if you look at box scores or defensive analytics or whatever only and not watch the games, sure, I can understand why. But just I challenge you guys to watch Anthony on defense. Watch how much effort he gives. Watch how hard he tries to defend. and it's jarring watching him compared to some of the other players who stand around and messes up a lot. Yeah. Jimmy says, not saying let him go. I just think he's super inconsistent with his play and getting on the court. That can't be your main pillar. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that Ant's like a number one on a contender or whatever. But the inconsistent thing, dude, I mean, last year he had Dame on the team, and they both got sat around the same time. Earlier in the season when Dame was hurt, Anthony kept us afloat for a long time. This season, Anthony unfortunately gets hurt in the first game. Like you said, he has been inconsistently available, which is a problem. Hopefully that's not like a long-term thing, but I mean, he had one injury and he got sick. I mean, I don't know. It's tough to say he's like injury prone or whatever. I mean, maybe he ends up being a guy who's misses chunks of the season every year because it's always something. But I don't see how someone who is in their first year learning how to run the show and has only played in 12 to 15 games. I don't even know how many games he's played. It might not even be that many. I just don't know how we can't give him more time to figure out how to be a leader, how to be the alpha, how to be a one option, and stuff like someone I forgot who it was says where is it? Oh, David Yang says he dribbles too much, which is Ant's problem. But, I mean, once again, he's learning how to play that position and be the guy. And he's learning how to play when you're the number one attention of focus of the defense, when you're getting double teamed for the first time in your career. You're having to run an offense 100% on you. And then you're also trying to integrate Scoot, who isn't the greatest off ball right now, and the spacing on the floor isn't great. And then the big man you brought in, Ayton, hasn't played really since he's been back, so he hasn't been able to develop any chemistry with their normal starting center. He's playing with a couple of guys who are on two-way contracts at the center position right now. And it's no offense to Baji and Reith. I mean, they're playing their butts off, but I mean, he doesn't have the greatest team right now. Kamara's a rookie, and they're basically leaving Kamara wide open on offense. So their other teams are saying we're gonna make Kamara try to beat us instead of Anthony. And despite all that, Anthony's shown a lot of improvement. And I know he didn't get to the free throw line much tonight, but he should have. He absolutely should have. He got hammered on a couple of those drives and should have gotten free throws, and is getting no respect from the refs. And I don't necessarily like the over-the-top angry at the refs that he was doing tonight, but I do like that he's getting a little frustrated and starting to be vocal to the refs about the lack of respect he's getting. So hopefully he starts to get those calls in the future. But I just don't see how you can look at Ant and see how he's progressed from being, I mean, all these same people who say he dribbles too much and that he's not a point guard or he can't run a team, these are all the same people who, he was a shooting guard, right? And when Olshey said we have a backup point guard. His name's Anthony Simons. Everyone laughed at that, right? Including myself a little bit. Not because I didn't believe in Anthony, but just because the way Olshey said it. But yeah, I mean, it's also why I want to get assets, man, because the more good players you put on this team, the less you have to rely on Anthony to be the number one. And then he can be really good playing off someone else. Like if he was playing with Joel Embiid right now, like Maxey gets to do, think of how much easier it would be on a guy like that. Or Jamal Murray and Jokic, you know? Like just think of how much easier it is on those guards to run an offense and dribble less and do all that kind of stuff when you have other players that can do things. So I just think this team isn't in the right spot to judge that kind of stuff quite yet. But that's why I want just as many reps as possible with the players that would be the core moving forward and not some of these guys who aren't part of it. Rob says, I just hope while Billups is here, he doesn't create bad habits that can't be fixed. Yeah, I mean, you'd hope that's not the case. But yeah. Who's a contender that has assets? A lot of contenders have assets. Almost all of them actually do. At least some sort of asset that would be outside of maybe like the Suns don't have a lot of assets. The Clippers gave up a lot of assets to get Harden, so they might not have it. But most of the other teams have some sort of asset. Aeromancer is just commenting about the Detroit Pistons game. Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, I don't know. I was just getting frustrated, man. What's up, Tommy? He wants Paul Reed. Nathan wants Jake Layman, of course. Yeah, I already watched before we went live. I watched Chauncey's press conference. He basically said he didn't know. he questioned why the effort was bad tonight, and this was the first game where the effort was definitely bad, and that yeah. So Tyler asked, what coach would you like to see coaching the Blazers? Off the top of my head, I don't know. I really like Mike Brown. He's like the only. And so yeah, a Mike Brown type that's going to come in. I think Will Hardy's done a really nice job in Utah, but obviously those guys aren't possible to get. Obviously Diagonal is not. I don't know. Find an assistant like that that has a good track record. G. Wilker said we could have had Nick Nurse. Yes, that's a good one too. Actually, someone who I think can coach, and he's at a school that's tough to coach at. But I think he's done a really nice job given the circumstances. I still think Jerry Stackhouse could be a good NBA coach. But I understand he's probably not going to get much buzz as an NBA guy. Juwan Howard's been a guy that's been named. I don't know if he's the best coach. Scott Brooks is a huge no for me. Mark Few from Gonzaga, I think he's I don't know if he'd be good in the NBA. Damon Stoudemire might be interesting. But a lot of these guys, part of the problem is I don't believe the staff is doing a very good job. I felt like they should have cleaned house in terms of Chauncey's staff if they were going to keep Chauncey. And so, yeah, you guys are naming a bunch of crappy coaches. Good job. Brandon Roy. Yeah, I guess he has some experience in high school, but the lack of NBA coaching experience would be a little concerning. But yeah, Rodney Billups, man, if that guy, Rodney Billups does not need to be on a coaching staff. I think Jay Wright might have a tough time in the NBA too. Roy is only for the vibes. I should be the coach. No, I should not. I cannot. I would not be a good coach. I would love to be like an assistant coach or some sort of practice squad coach. But yeah, I don't have any like visions of grandeur of being an NBA coach, man. Yeah, I do like coaching though, but I would love to get into coaching, but I don't think I'd be a good NBA coach. Alex, can you please stop naming people who I want nothing to do with? Not Doc Rivers. Come on. Kyle coaches 8th grade. That's cool. Yeah, my son's in 5th grade. He's on a team with a really good coach. I talked about this last game or last post game. I'm gonna try to help out a little bit on with that, but other than that, yeah, I've been able to coach basketball in a while. I coach soccer a little bit, but I don't know as much about soccer as I do basketball, so it's tough. Yeah. I have no faith in Scott Brooks either, so I wouldn't want him anywhere near the head coaching job either. Phil Jackson's still alive. Younger or older coach? I don't really have a specific age a coach has to be. I prefer not to have retreads. Outside of Mike Brown, I felt like he had earned another chance based on what he had done as an assistant with the Warriors and just some of his philosophies on teachable moments and being a strict coach, but also someone that is a respected coach. So I thought he would have been a good hire, but I also don't mind taking a chance on a young and upcoming coach if they have some experience. Because Chauncey's pretty young too, but he just hadn't really had a ton of coaching experience. Pete Carroll, you guys are on one tonight, man. What's up, Pim? Jeff Van Gundy. No Van Gundys. No, like that's what I'm talking about. Like no Mark Jackson. None of that kind of stuff, man. Yeah. Yeah. David Adelman. I mean, obviously, I think a lot of people would like that because of his dad. But, yeah, I don't know. I think didn't he get a DUI or something recently? I don't know if that would prevent him from getting a job, but yeah. Yeah, see, Budenholzer, I don't know, man. I don't. I think Budenholzer is more of a you need a good coach, uh, a good team coach. So I wouldn't have any of those kind of retreads. You know, no Alvin Gentry, no Dwayne Casey. Um, Wayne Tinkle, no. Come on, man. Yeah, I do think there's a little bit of them being too old school. Yeah, I think the game's kind of passed them by. And it's what's weird was I thought he got one recently too, or I thought something happened. Was it maybe? I don't want to speculate on something. I thought he potentially got arrested for something in the last few years. That kind of he was on the verge of becoming a lead candidate for several jobs, and then something happened. I think I don't know, guys. Can you please stop naming horrible coaches? Uh, would you be interested in revisiting Becky Hammond? Um, yeah, I mean, I'd be fine with that. Yeah. Um, Steve J says, why did Stotts leave? Leave Portland or Milwaukee? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that Alex, can you please stop, man? Please. I'm begging you, Alex. There's no doubt that Udoka can coach. Absolutely no doubt. But there's also, I mean, I don't know. I don't blame anyone from staying away from him either. But you got to find another coach like Udoka. I mean, there's those kind of guys out there. Um, but yeah, he's doing a really good job with Houston. But yeah. Oh, you guys, man. Marcus Camby, yeah. Actually, I don't know if Marcus Camby would be that bad, but he's not coaching right now. So Chauncey and three firsts for Mark Dagnall. Pim arose with a $10 donation for keeping it down on a tough season. Thanks, Pim. Appreciate it, man. Oh, now you guys got Tori starting into George Carl. Come on, man. Wouldn't there be a lot of college coaches that are a great upgrade? I don't know, man, because there's a lot of college coaches. They have a tough time in the NBA because in college you can kind of be that authoritarian type figure where you're very strict and you'll do everything the way I want it. And a lot of NBA players don't respond well to that. So I don't know. You got to be careful with that kind of stuff. So yeah. Adam Sandler says Javon. Okay. But yeah, I mean, it's all about finding the right guy who's going to come in and isn't stubborn to think that you have to do things a certain way. It's there's got to be a little bit of give and take and stuff like that. But yeah, like Joey mentions Hubert Davis, someone who it was one of his first years, if not his first year at UNC. Right, he has success. Um, they go really far in the tournament, and then they have several players back last year and looked terrible last year. So yeah, So I just need to start putting people in timeout. Tyler Hero's our coach. Eric, you just described Chauncey. Yeah, pretty much. That's disappointing. Yeah, Jerry Sloan isn't with us anymore, fortunately. I mean, it can work. It can definitely work. Finding like, there's no right answer. I mean, sometimes an assistant coach that deserves a shot is a great hire, and it really works out. Like Nick Nurse in Toronto, or like Will Hardy and Mark Daignault are both great examples of that. Udoka was a long time assistant. Um, so yeah, there's definitely situations where that can work out. Um, but then there's also, forget his name, but who's the guy that Indiana hired and then the team had like a mutiny, and there's lots of assistants that are terrible also. And then there's college coaches that are really good college coaches, like Rick Pitino and John Calipari, who get called up, and um, they just can't seem to figure it out in the pros. The Blazers had PJ Carlissimo, who was a longtime Seton Hall coach, and it didn't work. Alex Wolf, his Nate Bjorkgren, thank you, Aromancer, that was his name. That guy was like super respected as an assistant. But yeah, so there's all kinds of college coaches that don't work out, but there are some that work out fine, and then there's retreads that are terrible hires or whatever, and then there's some that, like Mike Brown, that work out okay. Or like when the Kings back in the day hired Rick Adelman. What one female coach will you hire, Eric? I mean, I don't care if it's a male or female. It could be either. I mean, Becky's done a good job with the Aces, but she also has a really freaking talented team, one of the best teams. So I don't know how much her coaching is putting them over the top. But she's done a nice job there, and I think she deserved a chance to get an NBA coaching job if she's even still interested in that. The Blazers also interviewed Dawn Staley that summer. They hired Chauncey, and she can be a little out there with some of her things she says, but she's a dang good coach too. So yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with either of those two. But I don't know if after we passed up on both of them before, maybe you can convince them that was Olshey that didn't want them here, and you could convince them to come, that this is a good fit for them. But you also have to look at it this way. I don't know how attractive this job is going to be if they fire Chauncey, because they had, I mean, they're a mess. This organization's a mess right now. And maybe you can salvage it by, a good young talent, and you have Scoot and Ant and Sharp and all these draft picks and stuff. So you could make things work. But all the reasons why like Cronin gets an excuse for not ever doing anything is all the same reasons why like a coach would look at this situation and be like, well, why would I want to be stuck in a place where no one wants to sign, and we can't pull off trades because no one wants to deal with us, and we're hampered by payroll and tax and all that kind of stuff. So Calvin Blevins should be our coach. Yeah. So Michael Hall says they burned the bridge with Becky. That could be the case. I don't know enough about that situation to speculate. But yeah, and Tori thinks they should just self-coach themselves. Yeah, so and DeAndre Ayton can use 2K to drop plays and that. I mean, it can't be any worse than Chauncey's plays right now. Yeah. This is so frustrating, man, because we got the Blazers and then the Beavers are. Their whole situation is a mess. Yeah. Jimmy, why do people bring? All right. Max says you think NBA players can't make great coaches. I know I don't think that at all. I think it's like I said, there's some that are good and some that are bad with every kind of aspect of life. So, yeah, I don't think there's necessarily a correct formula, but there's lots of coaches that are good. I mean, Udoka's an ex-player. Jerry Sloan and Pat Riley and Phil Jackson. Those are all ex-players. Yeah. And so there's been several people in chat that have mentioned that a certain Blazer media guy, Danny Meringue, says that Billups isn't the problem and that Chauncey has nothing to do with the struggles of this team. And it's fine. Like I said, you can have that opinion if you want. But you guys have to keep this in mind. Guys like Meringue and Hyken, they are always going to talk in a way that is not putting their access in jeopardy. And so they have to face Chauncey on an almost daily basis. And they have to, interview players and stuff and all that kind of stuff. So they're not going to be out here just constantly banging on the coaching and saying coaching's a problem and all that kind of stuff. Because then the next game, when they're in a press conference or whatever, like, how do you think Chauncey's going to react to that person? So, it's. I mean, I don't blame them. Like, of course, if you want to keep access, like, you're not going to ruffle any feathers. And especially since the old regime with Olshey and stuff definitely held grudges and took away access to a lot of those people. And it alienated a lot of media from the team. Yeah, I mean, the Blazers media who have to cover the team on a daily basis are going to, for the most part, keep it as clean as possible when it comes to criticizing people they have to interview. Noah says Tommy Lloyd. That's actually, if I had to pick a college coach, he might be one of the top guys. I mentioned Jerry Stackhouse earlier, but I do like Arizona. I don't know what they are this year, but I know the last couple of years they've been near the top in terms of ball movement and off-ball movement and all those kind of analytics. And I really like that. And Tommy Lloyd's done a good job with that kind of stuff. I don't know how he'd be as an NBA coach, though, outside of watching, about a dozen Arizona games over the last couple of years. That's my extent of Tommy Lloyd knowledge. Dana Altman is good too. Come on, Eric, show the Ducks some love. I don't think Altman would be a good pro coach. He's a little too controlling, I think. Would I rather have a new GM or a new coach? Definitely a new GM, because I believe a new GM could at least get players that could, maybe fit the system, but that's a tough one. A new GM that will get a new coach. Yeah, there you go. That wants to bring it as a. Do I drink alcohol? And if so, what is your go-to after a letdown late tonight? I'm really not a drinker that much. I'll have an occasional drink, but or if I'm on vacation, I'll lay into some alcohol. But it's kind of funny you say that because I haven't touched it since I opened it, but I got a little drink sitting on the table. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Dro says I'm a square. Yeah, I'm a square. No, I'm just older now. I have family. There's no trying to watch my weight and stuff. So, yeah. Yeah, so cheers. I'll take a drink to that. But yeah, so I've been working a new job for about 4 months now, and I stock all kinds of beer and alcohol and stuff most of the day. And so yeah, it's over the past few weeks I found myself like, oh, I should buy a thing of that and try it or something. So I have been trying a few more things than I had in recent years. But Michael Hall wants me to die, I guess, by taking a shot for every point they lost by. I'm not going to take 36 shots tonight. Yeah. Nathan says, I thought you had a business. I did. I owned a party store here in Oregon for almost 12 years. But back in August, unfortunately, I had to close it down and, get a real job. So, yeah. Aeromancer also wants me to die by taking a shot every time we don't get back in transition, which would have been like 100 shots tonight, or every time we blow an advantageous fast break. Tonight, that probably wasn't as much as it could have been, but probably like 10. I don't know. Shots for every time Chauncey claps. Are you guys want me to take like 100 shots? Man. That's crazy. For every bad interview. That's only one shot, though. That's not as fun. Who do we play next? What do you want to see? We play the Brooklyn Nets on Sunday, 12 o'clock Pacific time. So that'll be a game that, I know they beat the Thunder tonight. The Thunder are on a road trip, and after a couple of big wins, haven't played as great last couple games. Lost to the Hawks and now the Nets. But yeah, it's a game. Once again, I don't think they're uber talented compared to us, so I don't think we should be we should be in that bad of shape. Oh, okay, there you go. Nathan says, one shot every post game for every Jeremy Grant rebound. So how many shots How many shots would I have to take tonight? Because the last two games, I believe it's been one. Tonight he had one. Is this? Oh man, I gotta see. Do we have a 1 rebound streak of 3 games in a row? Am I remembering this correctly? It's sad too when you can remember his 1 rebound every game because it stands out so much. Oh my goodness. Chat. Thank you. Thank you. We have gone streaking, guys. We have gone streaking. 3 straight games for Jeremy Grant with 1 rebound. 1 freaking rebound from our starting power forward. Without our starting center, starting a couple of two-way centers, we have 1. In his defense, they've been blowouts, so he's only played 25, 20, and 23 minutes. So per minute, that's, pretty good for him, I guess, to grab 1 in that amount of time. Yeah. One freaking rebound, man. It's frustrating, man. And then, yeah. So I don't know what the point of taking 1 shot a night is, Nathan. Well, 1 shot for every Grant rebound. That's not going to do anything. You're just wasting a shot every night. Tori wants me to get wasted too because he wants me to take a shot every time chat pisses me off, which has been a lot. A triple single, yeah. Apple asks, will I be at the Bucks game when Dame returns? Yes, I'm planning on attending that game. As of right now, I am planning on that being my only game I go to this season. Just part of it is because it takes me a while to get back to do the post-game show after a game, so doing Blazers Uprise, it's a little more difficult to go to a game and then get home in time. But part of it too is just still a little frustrated with the organization, with how this summer went down. Yeah. Kyle says, what are the odds Eric cries at Dame's return game? I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna cry. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, yeah. If it was maybe different circumstances, might be. Yeah. Apparently I just made myself a starter member somehow. Or Tori did. Did someone gift a membership? I don't know what happened. What are you doing, Tori? Yeah, I mean, if there's a I wasn't even touching anything. Yeah, if there's a tribute video, maybe, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that night's gonna go. Maybe I shouldn't say I'm not gonna cry because I don't know. You guys know I've cried before on stream, so yeah. I definitely cry. I might be crying here, hopefully in a little over a month when the 49ers win the Super Bowl, and I cry if the Blazers ever won a ring. The Bucks happen to win a ring, I'd probably cry too. Yeah. might make me weird. I don't know. But yeah, I watching Grant try to rebound makes Kyle Wilson cry. Um, yeah, I don't know. Joey says he teared up a little bit watching the presentation for Dame after breaking the scoring record. That was cool to see. What's up, Danny? Rumo is 18 and says he'll never see a Blazers championship in his life. I hope that's not the case. G. Willikers says, "Did you see Dame is top 2 East and All Star voting?" Yeah, I think I think Dame is pretty easily gonna be an All Star starter. The letter O says the Ravens will smack the Niners. Well, both teams have to get there first. The letter O. You might be right. The Ravens did beat the Niners last time they met in the Super Bowl, so can't say that won't happen again. But yeah. It's set up very well for the 49ers to get healthy. They play, if they win both games, they'll both be in San Francisco, and then the Super Bowl's in Vegas this year, so they don't have to leave a little bubble out here on the West Coast for the rest of the season. And they don't have to worry about the game Sunday. They don't have to do anything. So, yeah, it's set up very well for them to get healthy and have their best team on the court or on the field for the next playoff game. And, yeah, thank you to the Arizona Cardinals for allowing them to do that. Nathan's been drinking too much. The Seahawks are going to knock the Niners out, sadly, but keep the spirit. Well, the Seahawks have to win and get help to even make the playoffs. So why don't you worry about making the playoffs first before you think you're going to upset anyone in the playoffs? Jimmy says Purdy ain't him. Watch. Okay. Cool. Kyle Wilson's dad is a Panthers fan. Yeah, that's rough. That organization is a mess. Tori Jones with a member for 1 month message says, "Shout out to myself for giving a membership to myself." You should give a membership to someone else, Tori. All right, let's do a tankathon. I won't once again be able to bring it up on the screen because I'm afraid I'm going to screw something up. And maybe sometime soon I'll have to show those pictures for a Brent breakdown. Oh, by the way, my drink tonight is I was trying these. Jack Daniels has a line of drinks. So it's a blackjack cola. It's all right. Unless they want to sponsor the show, then it's great, and I'll drink one every stream. All right. Cuddy Soup just got a membership from Tori. Nice. Congratulations, Cuddy Soup. Good job, Tori. Did you figure out how to do it? Yeah, in April, my oldest turns 21, and we're gonna take her to Vegas for her birthday. So uh, definitely be doing some heavy drinking on that trip. It's like basically going to be the whole point of the trip. But outside of that, I don't really drink too much. CP3 just broke his hand. Like he did on Evan Turner's shorts. Blackout Eric. I probably won't get blackout drunk because I need to make sure take care of my daughter. She's, but she might be blackout drunk. Yeah, for those that don't know, so when Tori gifted a membership, it chooses someone randomly. He didn't choose Cuddy Soup. It randomly picks someone from chat. All right. Well, if he broke his hand, that's the final straw. Oh, that's interesting. Just saw something. Wow. So he's gonna be out a while. Yeah, I thought they're kind of maybe on the fence about trading him, Chris Paul. But now, yeah, it's probably going to get traded and bought out. I can't get a hold of someone to ask how much of this I can say on the air. All right. How am I gonna phrase this so I don't get in trouble? All right. So you guys know earlier today, man. I've been trying to avoid saying anything about stuff lately, but screw it. So earlier today, you guys know that Shams was reporting that a certain Western Conference playoff contender was emerging as a serious suitor for Pascal Siakam. And then he later, about 3 hours after that tweet, outed the Sacramento Kings as that team. I don't know if he meant to do it that way, but he did. And he said that the Kings were pulling out of Siakam talks. Sources say things can be fluid, but Kings and Raptors talks are over now. That was 3 hours ago that he tweeted that. And about an hour ago, I heard that those talks aren't dead. Just say it that way. Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah. He mentioned the Kings in the video, the first video. Okay, I just saw it the other day. So it looks like, Yeah, someone is prepared to be a Raptor. I'll just put it that way. Someone from the Kings is likely to be a Raptor, according to someone. Yeah. Tori got it now. if you're a true listener of the show, you know who that would be. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the Kings are going to give up outside of this one player. I know they would like to do it without giving up Keegan Murray, and I think the Raptors are demanding Keegan Murray. So I don't know if that's the case. Keegan is not the guy who I'm talking about. It's another person who may or may not have signed an extension with the Kings last summer. That's as much as I'll say. But that's pretty obvious that he would have been involved with the trade for contract purposes anyways. Yes, Javon. Yeah. It's not Sabonis. But obviously, it have to be more than him on the team. What do you mean he didn't sign an extension, Arrowmancer? Well, no, because he signed he signed the extension before free agency. He signed the contract. It's that new rule where you can sign a player before free agency if it's not over a certain amount. So technically it was an extension because his contract had not run out on June 30th. Slim, they don't necessarily want that player. He's just the necessary part of the deal. But what I found interesting was the fact that it was that I was told it was still very likely to happen, not who was necessarily involved in the trade. Do the Raptors have picks to trade? Why would the Raptors be trading picks? They're giving up Siakam to the Kings. And like Tori's been saying in chat, I 100% want Siakam to get traded to either the Warriors or the Kings, preferably the Kings, because that's going to make a lot of other teams, particularly East teams, a lot more desperate, like an Indiana Pacers team, a lot more desperate to go after Jeremy then in that case. Jason Hawley, what's up, Jason? How you doing, man? $10 donation. He says, I think that was a basketball game I watched tonight. I don't know, Jason. It didn't look like a basketball game from the Blazers' perspective. The Dallas Mavericks certainly played a basketball game tonight. And then he said, look more like a horror flick to me. Good old-fashioned slice and dice, LOL. By the way, love Hoops Crush, Eric. Keep up the great work. Hey, thanks, Jason. It's good to see you here. Thank you for the donation. And yeah, new Hoops Crush episode dropped today. So go check that out if you are interested in that. That's where myself and YouTube legend Crushables just talk about the Blazers and NBA general stuff. We usually have a lot of fun talking, so go check that out after the stream if you're interested in that. It's over on our second channel, Blazers Uprise podcast. Thank you, Jason. Would the Warriors trade Draymond for Grant straight up? I don't know. I still don't think they would trade Draymond. I don't think they would trade him for Grant straight up, and I don't know why we would take Draymond for Grant straight up. Yeah. I'm pretty sure, Joey, that Hoops Crush at least is on multiple platforms where you can listen to it, where you get your podcasts. But I'm not sure. Yeah, and then also let me grab a link to it. So every Friday, Tori's been going on a show. Let me just... I'm going to put a link here in the chat. Copy. So Tori goes on a BetUS show called Gen Z Sports. And they talk about all kinds of topics. Today they talked about sports being rigged. They talked about the NBA games last night, including the Jokic's game winner, and also previewed the college national championship. So go check that out and support Tori on that platform. Here's the link there. So yeah, go check that out. And then, like I said, our second channel, Blazers Uprise podcast, has Hoops Crush on it pretty much every week. Yeah, Tori, I'm kind of jealous of Tori right now because he's in Sun River. It's one of my favorite places to go with the family is Sun River. Love that place. Maybe not as much this time of year, but summertime, it's great bike riding and all that kind of stuff. And then also, last time I was there, did some river floating in some inner tubes. That was so much fun. Yep. Where are the nightclubs at? I think you're in the wrong place for that, Tori. Way back in the day, we went to like the Sun River Resort Lodge at night. There was some like dance party going on, and it was like dead by like 9 o'clock, and it was, yeah. Well, Cuddy, you're not supposed to ride your bikes through the tunnels, unfortunately. But yeah. Oh yeah, Tankathon. That's it. Thank you, Garbin. Tory child announcement coming soon. Yikes. Is there something Tori is not telling us? Interesting. All right. I'm on Tankathon. I'm going to sim and scroll up. You're just going to have to trust me here. 14, we got OKC via Houston. At 13, we have Portland via Golden State. 12, we have New Orleans via the Los Angeles Lakers. At 11, we have Houston via Brooklyn. So far, all the teams that have their picks traded. At 10, we have the Chicago Bulls, which means I think Utah must have moved into the top 4. So congrats to them. At 9, we have Atlanta moving down a spot. At 8, we have the San Antonio Spurs via the Toronto Raptors. So that is a really good scenario with them, especially if they get lucky and their pick is number 1 or something, and they get Sar and probably still another good player here at 8. At 7, we have the Portland Trailblazers falling 2 spots down to 7. Despite them losing 3 in a row and having the 5th best odds now, they fall 2 spots. So 7 and 13 in this this Tankathon. Charlotte also falls 2 spots, and they are 6th. At 5th, we of course have the Detroit Pistons, because they fall to 5th in like every sim we do, because they're just so bad they don't deserve to get anything but the 5th pick, right? I think that's fair. So the top 4, I think, would be Utah, Washington, San Antonio. Yeah, who was the other team I'm missing? Memphis? Yeah. All right, so scroll up a little more. At 4, we have the San Antonio Spurs. So they have 4 and 8 in this particular scenario. At 3, we have the Memphis Grizzlies. And then top 2 come down to Washington or Utah. At 2, we have Utah, and that means Washington, I think. Is that the second straight time Washington's been number 1? So yeah, they have number 1. Yeah, sorry. I tried to show it last time I ran the stream, and it didn't really work out. Cuddy says Tori needs to hit up the ice cream spot in Sun River. I heard they'll have free ice cream tomorrow. Yeah, they have that sign that says free ice cream tomorrow. Yep. Which player in this draft is LeBron 2.0? I think we might need him. Well, Zach, it's possible that LeBron's son is in this draft, so I think, considering there's no one even close to LeBron 2.0 just in terms of raw physical skills, I would say that getting his son would be the next greatest thing, because that probably means you have a chance of getting LeBron at some point. So I think Bronny is the answer to that question. Jackson says college needs to go to a second mandatory year, LOL. Why? You don't want to just get rid of the one and done rule? Tori's soon-to-be son is the next LeBron. So not only is he having a kid, but he already knows it's a son. So whoever he knocked up must be pretty far along. Carson, what's up, man? I'm protecting my source on the pregnancy. You guys know as much as I know about Tori being pregnant or impregnating someone else. Tori, I mean, it's 2024. Tori can be pregnant, right? Cyclone asks, "What team do you think could use Kyle Kuzma right now?" Uh, I actually, I think the Lakers could maybe use him back. Uh, yeah, the Lakers, man. I don't know. I think Detroit's going to be really stupid and uh, and trade for him. Oh, I think Kuzma. I I've kind of changed my mind on Kuzma. He's okay. He's still not great, but I do think he's a pretty good player, and I think a lot of teams could use a player like him. Romas, does the NBA ever get rid of the lottery? I don't think they'll ever get rid of it. They might change it or change the way it works completely in terms of maybe I could see someday like some sort of in-season tournament success or some other sort of tournament at the end of the season determines a draft pick, but um, I don't see it really changing that much. Um, Koopa says, "How else can they finesse the odds to get Wemby to San Antonio?" Dude, come on, dude. Was not rigged. Why doesn't New York get the number one pick very often if it's rigged? Or Boston. One digit off, yep. Still would like to see that alternate universe where we all celebrate getting Wimby and things turn out much different. Uh, Chat is unhinged tonight, yep. Wood for Wemby didn't work, no. I don't know. We moved up to 3. I don't. I mean, it could have been worse. We could have been like 7 or 8, right? Do we win any games on this road trip, Eric? I would like to say yes, Joey, but the way we've been playing, I don't know. Torrey's Wood didn't work. Okay. Yeah. Torrey's Wood definitely did not work. My wood was working just fine. Must have been someone else. Last year we pooped for Scoot. Nathan thinks I have to juice. Okay. I mean, I'm getting old. I probably should get some help. Anthony Edwards averaging 26.5 points as Dre on 46% from the field and 38.5% from the three-point line is number one in the West. Could Sharp get on his level? Well, the number one in the West thing is going to be tough for several years, but I definitely think in terms of just that pure average and percentages, I think Sharp is definitely capable of that, whether he gets there. Yeah. Blue Chew almost became a sponsor. Why didn't it, Tori? Is that one of those that you didn't feel comfortable having as a sponsor? Tyler James says you need to try this Jack Cola. This is certainly better than the one I had the other day. Well, I had the same thing. I had one on New Year's because I had to work. I had to get up at 4:30 on New Year's Day, so I didn't want to drink, but I had like one drink just to try it, and it was like very Jack Daniels-y. But yeah, maybe I'm just a little more numb tonight because the Blazers pain. But this is pretty good. I like it. Maybe I just wasn't really feeling drinking the other night. Dre says we need Sharp, Simons, or Scoot to take a superstar leap and become Anthony Edwards SGA type of player, and we'll be in the golden era. Yeah, obviously. What's up, Daniel? How you doing, man? He says, how many wins do you think we end with this season? Let's see. We're almost. I think we end up with like 23 wins. 23 wins. Garben says, you're drinking right now, Eric. I'm having a drink to ease the pain. Michael says 12 more wins. Yeah, writes itself, huh, Rich? That would have been very appropriate for today's game, Rich. Well, the Blazers couldn't get up for tonight's game, but chat, that doesn't have to be the case for you with our sponsor. Yeah. When the Blazers aren't giving the other team the D, you can do it yourself. Oh, that's great, Nathan. Oh, I needed this, guys. I needed this. It's tough watching these games, having to watch them all to do the streams and stuff and power through these horrible efforts, man. It's crazy. Drew, I did not have a chance to see Mookie Cook's debut against Washington, so I don't really know what to say about him other than, he was hyped as like a sophomore as one of the best players in the nation of this class, and then kind of I don't know, it's kind of been forgotten about since he's been hurt. I haven't seen him on any kind of draft radars or anything, but yeah, I mean, it certainly has the ability to be a good player, but I didn't see the game that he played in or anything like that. What's up, Mom? She says, thankful I'm not going in person to these games. Well, you did go to the San Antonio game last week where they got their butts kicked. Javier says, didn't watch the game. How was Scoot's performance? Scoot was okay. Yeah, he was all right. He came out of the game. He had like 7 points really early. Was looking pretty good. Had a couple of nice passes in this game. One at the end of the half from the top of the key all the way to the corner on a rope to Jeremy for a three right before the half ended. Unfortunately, it left them like 2 seconds and they got a shot off and scored. So it kind of negated that. And then, yeah, he also had a really nice pass in the lane to Duop, who got fouled, so it didn't count as an assist. But yeah, I thought he did an okay job passing tonight. Early on, he scored a little bit. He didn't really score the rest of the game, so yeah, it was kind of an okay night, but I was really disappointed with his effort on defense tonight and on rebounding. So that's something that I think needs to improve. Uh, yeah, obviously, if Scoot can become a 38.5% 3-point shooter consistently, it's all over for the league. I think Sharp can easily do that. Oh man, Tori, Michael does not want to hear about your love life, so Garvin asked if Sharp's on a minutes restriction. I haven't heard anything either way, whether he is or not, so I'm not sure. But I certainly gotta believe that's the case if he's not playing that much. I mean, that might be the reason he's not starting and stuff, but yeah, I definitely think he should be starting and playing more. Nathan says that we wish we had Chauncey on a minutes restriction. Yeah. Fox, yes, CP3 really did break his hand and is going to require surgery, so he's going to be out a while. Yeah, I've watched Oregon play a few times prior to the game tonight. Or not tonight, but whatever night that was, they played Washington. So yeah, Shellstad. I mean, Shellstad's interesting. He definitely plays like he could be a really good player, a star, if that makes sense. But I just really worry about how small he is at the next level. I think he's going to have a tough time getting a shot off in a lot of situations. But yeah, other than that, I think he's a really good player and continues to hold his own against a lot of, or at every level. He did in high school, and whether it was in the Les Schwab or whatever. And he's doing it in college, so I don't think it's necessarily like a definitive thing that he can't make it in the NBA. But I definitely think he's rising up draft boards with his play of late. Maybe he needs to work on his playmaking a little bit. He could definitely score the ball, but yeah, maybe he needs to become a little bit better playmaker. He can get in the lane really easily, so if he can do that consistently, but use it more to set up others, I think he he could definitely be solid in the next level. I don't know if he's like ever going to be a starting level point guard in the NBA, but I think he can become a solid backup, like a Peyton Pritchard type, or a better version of Pritchard maybe. In terms of Evans, man, he's intriguing. I really like his game, but I feel like much like you're saying about Shellstad being a shooting guard trapped in a point guard body, I feel like Brown is or Evans is. I think he's kind of stuck being like a person who plays more like a center, but isn't big enough to be a center in the NBA. So I think he might need to slim down just a little bit and get a little bit more lateral quickness. Because if he could do that, I think he could be a really good player. But I've been impressed with all kinds of stuff from him. Like I've seen him hit some shots. I've seen him put the ball on the floor and create shots that way, get to the rim. Obviously, he can rebound and all that kind of stuff. Anyone on Dallas intrigued me for Jeremy Grant or Brogdon? I mean, they have one first-round pick they could trade. So if you got that unprotected, I believe it's 2027 they can trade. So if you can get that, that's the only thing I'm really interested in. Because, I mean, obviously I'd love Lively, but they're not trading Lively. So, yeah, there's no one else I'd really care about other than that one pick. JJ Ben says, what do you think of Chris Quinn as a head coach? Been under Spoelstra for 10 years. Yeah, that might be an interesting guy to look at. Also, not a good former player, but former player. Yeah, so I wouldn't mind taking a chance on him, but fortunately probably stuck with Chauncey for a while. My ideal trade for Brogdon. I think just getting a first for Brogdon is all I really care about. Expiring at a first. If you happen to get a young player, even better. I've mentioned this. So last post-game show, we talked a lot about trades. And then there was also I'm yawning a lot because I've been up since 4:30. Yeah, there was a stream on Blazers Uprise podcast on Blazers Uprise Live. I think it's in the title, Brogdon trade suggestions or something, that we talked a lot about it as well. So yeah, that's the Blazers also bored me to death tonight, but yeah, so you can go check those out if you want like more in-depth stuff. So yeah, I trying to think of we did talk about a scenario which sent like Brogdon and Ayton to the Nets, and we end up with like Claxton. I would really like that. Yeah, because I think Claxton could be our center of the future. Shout out to MGJJ123 for the $5 donation. Thanks for the good show, Solo. Hopefully better days ahead. Can't get much worse. Oh, it can get worse. But yeah. Thank you so much for the donation. Appreciate it. But yeah, and basically, I think the Knicks are probably emerging as the front runner. Actually, I want to check. I want to see if BetUS has odds on it. Tyler asked how Gill Coliseum was. It's really small. It was fine for the game I went to because school was on break, so there wasn't a ton of people there. So it was really small and intimate. But yeah, it's not a good arena in terms of like being nice or anything like that. Yeah, it's pretty much the same as when I went to school there over 20 years ago. So yeah. What did I think of Collier? You should check out the Hoops Crush episode, Tyler. No, just kidding. I did talk about it on there. Collier is someone I was really high on earlier in the season. Um, and he's kind of in a funk lately. I don't know what's wrong with him, but I did watch him a lot, both warming up and, obviously in the game. And I think he definitely has the skills to be a pretty dominant player, a good lead guard in the NBA. Um, I just, I don't know what it is, whether it's something going on with him or just USC not using him right or USC just being sucky. I don't know. Uh, but yeah, some was wrong. They didn't play him the last 6 minutes of the game after they had gone on a run with him and Bronny in the game. So yeah, I don't know. But I still think Collier should be picked pretty high in the draft. Mm. Eric Olson says, "Do you think Kerr is still a good coach? His rotations have been trash this year." Um, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to say if someone who's won 4 championships has lost it or whatever. Same thing's going on with the New England Patriots in the NFL right now, where it looks like Bill Belichick could be coaching his last game there on Sunday. Um, yeah, I don't know. Hard to believe that they've lost it as a coach. Sometimes you get stuck in a situation where the Warriors have done that 2 timeline thing and hasn't really worked out because you got to commit sometimes to playing the young guys. I have no idea what he was doing the other day when he didn't play Kuminga for like the last 18 minutes or whatever. But all I know is there was a game earlier in the season against the Blazers in which Kuminga did not play in the first half, and the Blazers were in control of the game, and then he played in the second half and completely changed the game with his energy and movement and stuff. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there in terms of rotations and stuff, but he is or was playing Pods for a while, who was a rookie and was starting him and playing him heavy minutes. So I don't think it's necessarily just him not wanting to play the young players. So I don't know if Kuminga is just in the doghouse or what, but there definitely is some sort of disconnect, and they haven't been good this year. But I don't know if that's all on Kerr. I mean, that team's been getting older, and I mean they don't have a lot of ways to improve it, and then the Draymond situation blows up and makes it tough to compete and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know, man. I still think Kerr is a good coach, though. Yeah, you can't trade players for coaches, but that's funny. Yep. Kuminga played the most minutes on the team tonight. They end up winning. I didn't see the final score. Um, uh, I don't know if I read this off, but Nathan Foley had a member message for 11 months. The Blazers need Jake Layman out there. Um, but I wanted to just thank some people once again. Nathan and Tori for their member messages. Pim, Jason, and MGJJ123. Thank you guys for your donations tonight. Appreciate all of you. And just want to say thank you to chat, even though I get annoyed by some of you. I do appreciate all of you coming in and, having conversations and being in here, having fun. It makes it a lot more interesting when you guys are, interactive and stuff like that. So thank you tonight. Internal Canvas says, would you be interested in trading for Kuminga? I'd probably rather have picks than Kuminga. And there's a couple other younger players like Jarris Walker, Sarah Thompson, those kind of players that I'd probably rather have instead, just because the timeline for having to pay those players after their rookie deal is a little bit longer, like 3 years after this one for anyone who's a rookie this year before they get paid. Whereas I think Kuminga only has one more season before he's a free agent. So, I would be looking to get players that aren't necessarily younger, but on a little bit less further along in the rookie contract scale, just so you have them for a longer period of time. But I don't think it would be bad. I do think if we got someone like Kuminga, it should be because we traded Jeremy either in that trade or in another trade, and that way Kuminga could be the starting power forward for the time being. I don't really want to have a situation where he's like the backup four and then Jabari never plays or whatever. So if we got a Kuminga in a trade with the Warriors, I think that's fine. But one other thing to look out for if the Warriors try to make a big trade is they owe us, obviously, the 2024 first, but it's top 4 protected and top 1 protected next year, unprotected in 2026. So because it has protections that last for 3 more drafts, they can't trade a pick then until 2028 unless they change the protections on the pick they owe us. So right now, they only have a 2028 first because they also had traded a 2030 first. So they don't have their 2030 either. So if they wanted to free up first round picks to make a huge trade, I don't know if they need to do that for Siakam or Grant or whatever, but they could either ask the Blazers to, if they'd be willing to make that pick unprotected if they were going to get like a Siakam in another trade, so they have another first to trade, or if they traded with us for like Brogdon or Jeremy or something and needed some more incentive for us to do it but didn't want to give up multiple unprotected first, they could just let us roll the dice and change it to our pick this year being unprotected that we get from Golden State. And that would make things very interesting the rest of this season, rooting for the Warriors to lose, because then we wouldn't be in any danger of losing the pick. And I still don't think it's that bad of a situation if we lose the pick, because, like I said, it's only top 1 protected next year, so it's almost guaranteed to convey. But you don't know how good the Warriors would be. So the fact that they're sitting there in the lottery right now, and you could potentially have another chance of getting Sar, or in the perfect scenario, the most ideal, awesome scenario would be to get 2 picks in the top 4 then, or something, if the Warriors pick moved up and we moved up as well. So Those would be awesome, or that would be awesome to have, but I'm just not sure how likely that is or anything. Yeah. So tonight, man, the Blazers lose by 36. It's just really frustrating. Yeah. They in garbage time they managed to get their field goal percentage up to 41.1%. I'm getting so sick, man, of seeing the freaking the halftime numbers that they show on the Blazers broadcast. The Blazers are always shooting like 39 or 40%, or somewhere between 38 and 40% from the field. Every freaking game, it seems like. Oh, 39%. And then they're shooting like 12% from three, and the other team is shooting like 60%, and like 45% from three or whatever. It's like every freaking game is like, oh my goodness. So I don't know what Dallas ended up shooting tonight. I can look, I guess. 41.1% for the Blazers and 58.3% for the Mavs. Our defense is so bad, man. Even when we play good defense, like the Mavericks tonight hit some very tough shots. It's crazy. Very crazy. Repair and Chris were fine. I mean, it's garbage time, so it's hard to tell, but I thought they both had some energy and played fine. Repair hit a three. That was nice to see. Had a finish in a transition scenario. Murray had a nice drive and dunk. Hit a three, or maybe even two threes. Hit two threes? I don't know. Yeah. Torrey's going to get stuck in Sun River as the snowstorm that's supposed to hit. Yeah. Tyler says chances of getting a Sir Thompson. I don't think they're high, but I don't think it's impossible either. I think there is a chance. There is a chance that they could. I don't know about the Blazers getting them, but I think Detroit's going to do something really stupid and try to right the ship right now instead of down the road, or like just keeping on the youth movement and adding more assets to it. So I've said this multiple times in streams recently. Take advantage of teams like Detroit if they do that. Because if they're dumb and give up on a guy like Thompson just to get a little better this year when they're one of the worst teams in the league, or actually one of the worst teams of all time, man, I want the Blazers to be the team that takes advantage of that situation. So, yeah. Jackson, not a snowstorm like in the Portland area. The snowstorm's supposed to be like at a little higher elevations of the mountains, and you have to kind of go through that to get to where Torrey is. So, all right. Rich says prediction for Cronin's media access post trade deadline. Well, we feel like Jeremy and Malcolm were just too valuable leadership wise and as mentors to our young players to get rid of them. And we tried calling a few teams. We're really close to making that trade, you know. But you call a team and they say no, and then a couple weeks later you try them again. If they still say no, I don't like to bother them. So, a couple weeks ago we thought we had some traction on a few trades, and Yeah, just like they're just a little too rich for us to partake in those moves. So we ended up we're very happy that we kept the players we did, and yeah, I think we're gonna go into the off season and go into super duper win now mode really soon, and yeah, but yeah, I think Scoot Henderson is really talented, and he's gonna definitely make us all forget about Dame someday. So, but yeah, we you have to give me credit because I'm trying to make trades. Just they don't happen, man. Like it's like teams don't want to trade with me for some reason. Yeah, but I do think they trade Brogdon. I was just joking about that part, but I do think he's gonna say how valuable Jeremy is and how much he means to this organization, and that they didn't want to move him. Oh yeah, we did get a couple of second round picks that'll be very valuable for us asset wise this summer. Um, yeah, and we got some expiring contracts, so we will have cap flexibility moving forward. Oh yeah, yeah. Malcolm wanted to go to the New York Knicks, and we wanted to do right by him. We felt it was our duty to get him to where he wanted to go, so we made sure we trade him to the Knicks. I know we only got Evan Fournier and Miles McBride back, but we feel like McBride is a first round value because of where he was taken in a draft a few years ago. And so we felt like we did pretty good to take advantage and recoup some of that value that from what ultimately was from the Dame trade. So yeah. But no one was offering a first round pick. So what am I supposed to do? Someone was asked about Thibault earlier. I hopefully he's not. Hopefully his injury isn't serious that he had tonight. But I do think he's possibly playing. Like, how could he not be somewhat close to first round pick value? Right? He's got to be somewhat close to a fringe first round pick. I mean, heavily protected or whatever, lotto protected. But I think he's valuable enough to get a fringe first or a really good second or a couple seconds if they did. Ain't our first in pick for Siakam. We shouldn't have any interest in trading for Siakam because one, he's expiring, and who knows if he'd want to resign here. He didn't want to resign here at many places over the summer. Wanted to stay in Toronto, so I don't think the Blazers should be in or anywhere close to being in on guys like Siakam, who are veterans that don't make any sense for the timeline. I don't understand that at all. Tyler James says the Warriors broadcast was calling Thibault an elite defender, and so we need to cash in on Thibault as soon as possible. Yeah, I agree. So what's everyone doing this weekend? We'll wrap it up with that. Anyone have any fun plans this weekend that you want to talk about in chat? I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. Might take my younger kids to go do something. I don't know if the weather's going to be nice enough, but maybe go to the zoo or out to play like mini golf or something. I don't know. Garben's thinking about doing heroin to numb his blazer pain. Yeah, okay. I'd say don't do that, Garben, please. Joey's going to go ride some quads on the sand dunes. That sounds fun. But, yeah, unfortunately, it looks like it's going to rain. Eric Olson says, playing pickup in Irving Park, pull up and find out. What are you going to do if I do pull up and find out, Eric? You're going to have that same attitude to my face? For the record, I know Eric. I've met him before a couple times outside of just chat, so yeah. But no, it's not supposed to be the greatest basketball weather. How's your knee doing, Eric? Rich is going to try to eke out a Rip City Retro episode. Been very difficult lately. Yeah. Garben wants to mountain it up on Sunday. Might be a good weekend to go to the mountain. They might actually have snow up there. All right, I want to check one more thing before we go. If you haven't already said what you're doing this weekend, go ahead and let me know. I'm looking this up. Why is this not working? Oh, it's not working. Why is it not working? Getting set for Monday's game should be a great one. You're looking forward to college football, Rich? Is that what you're talking about? Nathan's going to Tori's baby shower. Oh, nice. I wasn't invited. Dang, man. That hurts. That hurts. Yeah, but Tori, I don't know, probably won't be able to make it to the show on Sunday. So, if not, if Rich is able to, he might join me for that one. So it's not solo. I've not looked at the college basketball games this weekend. I need to do that after the stream and make sure I record the ones I want to watch. So yeah. Truly Spencer says he's going to teach his son how to drive a manual. Nice. Yeah, I was just thinking my son is 11, so he's got about 4 years till he got to teach him how to drive. Taught my oldest when she was 15, driving around this area, like parking lot kind of, but had some like side streets and stuff. It's not really any other cars on the roads and stuff. That it's actually a spot where I learned how to drive way back in the day, like 800 years ago. All right, let's get this to work, please. Basketball, NBA, basketball, NBA specials, maybe? Whoa. Adam Silver to step down as NBA commissioner in 2024? Plus 800 is yes? Is that a thing? Why is DeJounte Murray's next team, if not Hawks, the Lakers, are minus money? They really... I haven't really... Have you guys heard DeJounte connected to the Lakers that much? I've heard like Raptors and Knicks, but I haven't really heard him on going to the Lakers. That's weird. Wow, they have a NBA team to draft Bronny James in 2024. The Lakers are plus 200, the highest odds by far. Where is Portland on here? Portland Trailblazers are plus 4,000. Ooh. Ooh. The Blazers with 4 picks. Could they just do it for the culture? That's interesting. You could, if you are not already signed up for BetUS, you could use the link in the description below, which gives you a 125% bonus on your first deposit. And then then you could put it all down on Bronny to the Blazers at plus 4,000, which would give you a lot of money, man. So if you bet that'd be a lot of money. Yeah, $100 will get you 4,000. So if you bet, or if you deposit $100, got the bonus, so you'd have $225. I think there's a max you can get the bonus. I'm not sure I can't remember what it was, but so that's $225 you could bet on with a free $125. That's interesting. Interesting. Yeah, so you're gonna win about $10,000. I actually really like Bronny as a player. A little small, but yep. All right. Does anyone have any last minute questions or statements or hot takes they want to throw out there before I sign off? I mean, that statement would be true, Rich. He says Chrono would say LeBron's not a normal 40-year-old. He's not a normal 40-year-old. He's absolutely a, like, supernatural So yeah, he'd actually be telling the truth in that situation. Billups would make him so bad. Yeah, he would just like. We call him 34, even though he's 40. Oh, man. I don't know, Rich, if there's anyone else that gets as much enjoyment out of Cronin lies than we do. Mom, if the weather's nice, do you want to go to the zoo with us tomorrow, or are you doing anything? All right, Rich had a joke he wanted me to tell. I don't know if we're gonna go for sure, Mom, but yeah, it's kind of dependent on the weather. All right, let me find it. All right. Here's the joke, okay? Remember those that sit down with Chauncey and Joe Cronin, um, and one of the biggest things they kept mentioning was that they were both addicted to winning. And so Rich would like to congratulate both of them on being clean and sober from their addiction for several years now. So congratulations to Joe and Chauncey for being rehabbed from their addiction to winning. Yeah, got a kick out of that one earlier. I didn't want to steal it from you, Rich, in case you wanted to use that on one of your shows. But yeah. Are you really addicted to what you're not addicted to, though, Daniel? Like if you're sober from drinking, you're not addicted to not drinking. You just make sure you don't drink, right? Uh, Rich, you're funny. Tyler asked, did I already say what we could get from the Knicks for Brogdon? I do think we can get either a really good first or maybe two lesser firsts that are protected or whatever. And then, yeah, we'll just like aspire like M40 and maybe another small contract thrown in. Yep. What was made up? I don't know what you're asking, Garben. No, Cronin and Chauncey did say they were addicted to winning, but yeah. Um, yeah, well, okay, so I want to thank everyone for watching, especially if you made it all the way to the end here. Appreciate all of you for supporting the channel and for everyone participating in chat. And if if you don't mind, leave a like on your way out. It's the easiest way to support Tori and I. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the stream. Sorry that Tori couldn't make it. Hopefully he'll be back sometime soon. Like I said, he probably won't be on the stream Sunday because I think he'll still either be there or be traveling back. But should be back for the game after that. And yeah, so hope to see you guys Sunday. It'll be a little earlier because the game's at noon Pacific time. So middle of the day on a Sunday. And in the meantime, go check out that show on BetUS, Gen Z Sports, for that Tori has been on Fridays. And then go check out Hoops Crush over on Blazers Uprise podcast. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in. Blazers get absolutely slaughtered tonight in Dallas for the second game in a row and looked absolutely terrible. And fortunately, they have been pretty brutal to watch. And we just got to hope at some point it starts to click for several players, mainly Scoot Anthony and Sharp, and then a couple of trades make it a little bit more fun to watch, because it's just been brutal lately. Appreciate everyone for sticking it out through the tough times, and talking about the games with us and talking about everything else with us. Definitely makes it easier to push through and get through these crappy seasons with all of you as part of it. So I really appreciate each and every one of you. And I hope you have a good weekend until Sunday. I hope to see you on that stream then. And until next time, for Blazers Uprise, peace out. Go Blazers.